Hello plant lovers, Matthew in Melbourne welcoming you back to my channel. Hello plant lovers, I grow cold, cool, intermediate orchids here in Melbourne in Australia. I post every week, so if that is of interest, do hit subscribe. And yes, today I'm on the stairs, it's the best winter light, and I am not in the most fabulous florist in Melbourne. But plant lovers, we're here to talk about longevity. And this is not about skincare regimes and anti-aging treatments, it's about orchid flowers. The reason, plant lovers, is this. Look at this, fabulous Miltassia. Now, I made a video about this Miltassia and I published it on the 21st of May. And this spike, as you can see, is still going strong, and we have a spike at the back here. One of the blooms is a bit on the turn, but we've still got 3 other flowers on it. That is 3 months of flowering, and I reckon I might even get another month out of this plant. That's amazing. 4 months of bloom time from this amazing Miltassia. So as I was pottering around and noticed this, I thought, I think there is a video, because we all want longevity. Well, we all want to live forever, but in our orchids, even more so, we do want longevity, because you go to all this effort to get them to bloom. The least they could do is stay in flower for you for long enough to be able to enjoy it, perhaps show it off a little, to have it somewhere in your house so you can enjoy it. So let's have a little look at these and just talk about longevity. Okay, so the first cab off the rank is this Miltassia, and I will tell you exactly what it is called. It is Miltassia Lavender Kiss Lavender Taffy. Quite a silly name, I feel, but never mind. And Miltassia have a light, slightly frigere fragrance. Not overpowering, but something that is just generally there. It's really beautiful. Now, I had this plant, and as you can see, look how vigorous it is. Oh my goodness, is this not the most vigorous plant you've ever seen? Well, perhaps not, but certainly one of my most vigorous grows. It did so well for me that I wanted to find more, but in Australia, most of them do tend to be versions of the same. So this sort of burgundy lilac, and I thought, well, I've already got one, so I want something that's a little different, but there aren't that many available in the market. However, look at that little cutie. So this one is Miltassia Royal Robe, and it is a sort of a burgundy red color. So really quite different to all the other sort of Miltassias that are available in Australia. Now, I know wherever you are, there are different suppliers, different sellers, different breeders, so I know there are more options out there, but for some reason here, not a huge amount of opportunity. Anyway, I bought this seedling, maybe 3 months ago, and it is sending up, as you might be able to see. Can you see that there? Amazing new growth. There's a couple of key new growths coming up there. So I wouldn't be surprised, perhaps in a year or 2, that this would be ready to flower. Obviously, the bigger the plant gets, the more gargantuan the flowers will get, but I'm looking forward to this as a contrast to this. There is another one that I've seen out there, I forget the name of it, but it's got very, very dark burgundy elements to the flowers. So we'll see if I'm prepared to give that one a go. And the other thing I discovered about Miltassia is they're not called Miltassia. They are actually called Bratonia, which sounds a bit bratty, but anyway, it makes sense because they are, as you can imagine, a cross between Brassia and Miltonia. And you can really see that in the flower. The flower does look very Miltonia-like, but it has the sort of the spideriness of the Brassia flowers. Now, curiously, because Miltonias do like warmer, more humid conditions, and this baby I grow outside all year. Now, the seedling, I am cheating. That is indoors, perhaps until it's just a little bit bigger, but this one is outdoors all year. So it's undercover. In summer, it gets early morning filtered direct sunlight and then filtered for the rest of the day. And in winter, it gets a little bit of direct filtered sunlight and then it's filtered for the rest of the day. So it does actually get a reasonable amount of strong direct light. Not strong direct light, but you know what I mean. It gets direct light, but in a filtered, gentle manner, either in the morning or in winter when the sun is not too strong. And like with most orchids, if this is in direct sun for a long time, the leaves will burn, but it does like a little bit of strong light. And this one, as you can see, has just gone gangbusters. Anyway, so I'm very happy about this, but what I am more happy about, plant lovers, is that this plant has been in bloom now for 3 months, and it will probably still have these flowers in a month's time. This orchid sits outside, and so it is the most beautiful splash of these wonderful lilac-y flowers outside. So for my money, Miltassia is a great flower to focus on if you want something that is bang for buck in terms of longevity. Okay, moving right along, and here is exhibit B, which is, as we can see, a Cymbidium. Now this is one of the smaller Cymbidium types, and this one is Sarah Jean. I'm not 100% sure that it is the one that I thought it was. They all look very similar, I have to say. So there are sort of Ice Cascade and Snowball, all variants on the same theme, and actually a possum dragged away the label, so I'm not 1,000,000% sure, but anyway, it's one of those Sarah Jean orchids, and it's whitey cream. I actually thought it was yellow, and that's kind of why I got it, but in fact, as you can see, it's quite cream. But I made a video about this, and my disappointment, I've moved on, because as you can see, it is beautiful. Anyway, the point being though, and I think we all know this, but Cymbidiums last such a long time, both as a cut flower and then obviously even more so on the plant. So again, bang for buck, Cymbidiums are amazing, amazing orchids to grow, and they do reasonably well when you bring them inside to enjoy the flowers. They're not going to drop dead on you for the conditions you've got inside. They will manage. So I bring this inside while the blooms are blooming and then take it outside again when it's done. Cymbidiums are a cool climate grower. In fact, they like moderation, so nothing too extreme either end of the spectrum. You can get tropical Cymbidiums, so there are types that will grow in that sort of environment, but these are perfect for my sort of climate here in Melbourne. So this bloom will last 3 months, if not more. Amazing. And then this spike has just opened a little later, so this one will obviously last longer. So again, I might get 4 months out of this, which is incredible. Next cab off the rank, this is my Colmanara, which is Colmanara Wildcat Black Cats. And I also made a video about this, but generally these Oncidium types of orchids are going to give you a couple of months of longevity with the flower spikes as well. Often you can get multiple spikes on Oncidiums, so you're going to get perhaps again 2 to 3 months longevity out of the plant and the flower spike if you manage to get multiple blooms. But this one, I imagine I will have at least 2 months worth of life out of it. And if you've got Oncidium types that have got larger sprays and multiple sprays, obviously you can get 3 to 4 months. They're amazing, and of course the fragrance. Subtly beautiful. So in this kind of family, all of that type of orchids generally last a long time, and again, do very well indoors. So I keep these indoors in winter because it's just a bit too cold at night in Melbourne, but they do go outside in summer. But they're really fine to bring indoors when they're in bloom, so they can generally cope with your indoor temperatures. If it's particularly dry, if you've got lots of dry heat in winter, then mist them regularly, but otherwise they're a great plant to bring inside when they're in bloom and enjoy the flowers, which will last you 2 to 4 months, depending on how many spikes you've got and what type of orchid it is. And then the last cab off the rank, this is my Miltoniopsis, and this is Kelly's Spangled Banner. It has been the star of many a video. This spike has been in bloom now for a couple of months. It opens just as a previous one died, and then look at that. These blooms have just started to open on this spike. So that is, I'm losing track now, but that's at least 4 months of continual flowers. Obviously not from the same spike, but each spike itself will last a good couple of months, and their fragrance is really beautiful. So Miltoniopsis is another fantastic orchid. Again, it does really well inside. So if you want to put it somewhere to enjoy the flowers inside the house, it will be okay, as long as it's not too dry, hot. So if in winter you've got crazy heating, might not love that, but you can mist it and make sure that its environment is quite humid by perhaps sitting it in a tray of pebbles with water in it. But I have mine inside to enjoy the flowers, and it is fine, as you can see. And in fact, this spike emerged while the plant was inside, because I've discovered to my pain that they don't like cold winter temperatures. They are a cool orchid, so they really don't like the heat, but they don't like extreme cold either. So there you are, longevity 101, And let's just recap. There are, of course, many other orchids that last a long time, perhaps most famous being Phalaenopsis, which are another very, very easy orchid to grow indoors, and those flower spikes will last months again. And if you get multiple spikes on your plant, you might be able to stretch that either way. So again, 2 to 3 months from a Phalaenopsis. I've also had a sequential Paphiopedilum, which I made a video about, and that was in continual bloom for 5 months, I think, which was just extraordinary. These amazing, beautiful butter yellow flowers. And my Psychopsis, which is a sequential bloomer, so in fact it's never not flowering except when it's not. So the flower dies, a new bud appears, so you generally have a sort of a 2 to 3 week layoff period in between the flower, and then it opens, lasts, it's beautiful, dies, rinse and repeat. So Psychopsis orchids are really great, and I made a video about that as well. Well, there we are. All of this was really triggered by me noticing that Miltassia Lavender Kiss Lavender Taffy was still in bloom 3 months after I made the first video about it. So I really love that. I'm not into finicky orchids that just bloom and drop dead in a day. I mean, I'm sure I shouldn't say that, but there are lots of rare, wonderful orchids and the flower lasts for a very short period of time. But I do like a bit of longevity. I feel that you need to be rewarded for all the effort and care and neurosis that you put into these things. Anyway, there we are, plant lovers. Orchid Longevity 101. I hope that has been remotely useful, but perhaps amusing. Any other orchid types that you might want to list below? Always keen to know what lasts long for you. I'm sure there are others I've forgotten that I grow, but anyway, we'll get to that. But let me know what else you have great success with that lasts a long time. And in the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I look forward to seeing you next week with another orchid adventure. Until then, see you later.